Welcome everyone to Girl Talk and Cocktails. I'm so excited about today's show because we have a very special guest for you, a world-renowned numerologist, JosephGhabi. And I'm going to actually let him introduce himself, but first I'm going to have my dog needed to introduce himself. We're going to have Jennifer, my partner in crime, Jennifer, say hello and introduce herself.
Hey guys, I'm excited too to hear from Joseph. I'm with AV Connections and I am a love coach, a confidence strategist, and excited for tonight and hear what we got going on.
Well,
excellent. Thank you. Joseph, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about how you got into the business of numerology. I know you are a highly degreed person. And so, maybe tell us a little bit of yourself.
No problem. And hi, everyone. And thanks, Arlene and Jennifer, having me here tonight for your side. I'm still sunny here in the West Coast. I started as an engineer. I had a degree in electrical engineering and a master in computer science. I graduated in New York City. And 3 months into that, I quit. I said, that's not for me. So I moved from New York to Montreal, and over there somebody lended me a book, and it was about numerology. And I started looking into that, and because I'm inclined into mathematics, numbers, and all of these from my old study, I said, let me give it a try. And I started trying it, and then things developed one after the other one, and I got involved into the numerology aspect of things. But because of the curiosity of the engineering, I went and experienced and implement every vibration that exists and any energy that exists. I tried it. So I moved from, when I lived in Montreal, I moved in 22 years living there, maybe about 23 times, 24 times. And every time I live in a different vibration, different energy, just for me to learn about those energies, to how they vibrate. Now, from that, I also started into, I noticed into the vibrations that they can talk to you, they can speak, they can relate to many different things. And the number one question that over 20 years that I've been asked about is, what is my destiny? And this is where the problem was most people. What is my destiny? And now, how can we tell what is our destiny when we don't know who we are in the first place,
or where we came from,
or where we came from, because it doesn't work, So exactly. I realized people are stuck most of the time. So what I developed is I developed the inner child work, the healing childhood experiences, where I start helping people to bring them from being unstuck into then going all the way to their destiny. Otherwise, they're going to be lost, and they keep attracting similar experiences into their life. And how many of you, you keep saying sometimes, I keep attracting similar people in my life. I keep facing the same type of relationship. I keep having the same people at work. Even if I move my job, even if I change my relationship, it's like the energy is not moving me. It's always following me. In a way, yes, because we all have a backpack that we're having a hard time to drop it out of our sight and move freely into our life. And this is where, so I dropped the engineering, I dropped everything. And I realized from what I learned from electrical engineering, I learned 3 keywords: energy, vibration, and frequency. And this is what I use in all my work. And what I learned from the computer science, I learned about programming and deprogramming, and this is what I use for the in my inner child work, for programming and deprogramming the subconscious. And that's where all the puzzle came all about, and helped me to change into many different aspects in my life. So
that's really interesting, the way you make the correlation between your background. And I actually had a guest on who's a scientific person. He's a PhD, in psychology, and he talked about the vibrations too. And I said, well, you know, sometimes people think that this might be like a little woo-woo or some hokey thing.
It's not.
And he's like, no, Arlene, this is science.
Yeah.
This is science. So it's very interesting. And I mean, Jen knows too. She's a clinician. She's a nurse by trade. So she knows about this stuff. And it's really interesting because people have to understand. And I always make the correlation of, you know, radio frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't see it, but it's there.
It's there.
And that's how you're able to. So we emit a frequency as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish you can explain a little bit about that.
Because you see,
Jen, I wasn't sure.
We have your brain here, and that brain, the same way it receives, it also transmits. Now, how many times you are sitting next to the phone and it starts to ring, and before you pick up the phone or seen on who's calling, or in the old days we didn't have those, you know who's going to be on the other side of the line. And that's because of the transmitting, receiving channel that we all have. It's not only me, it's not only Jennifer or Arlene, everybody have it. So we always transmit those vibrations everywhere because it is the way we are. We bring those aspects into everything, as everything is energy. Now, we all vibrate in a different frequency. That frequency, it can be positive or negative. And in the same time, it doesn't matter, as long as we understand where we are. And then we can start to correlate and start moving forward the energy and to reverse it. And because it is energy, the moment you say, I don't want that, you change it, it completely switch. So it doesn't take long for it to switch because it's energy. And energy vibrates in a different frequency. You only have to reverse the frequency if you don't like what you have. And this is where it makes a big difference. Now, because of the fact I work in my healing work with the soul agreement, I can tell of everybody what is the agreement they have between each other. So, and it all takes from the date of birth. And you can tell exactly what two people are working with each other, and regardless what their relationship with each other.
That's really interesting, Jen. I think you and I need a reading about our soul agreement because we're soulmates. Oh, we can't hear you, Jen.
We cannot hear you, Jen.
Hold on.
Oh, there you are. You're back. You're back. You're back.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying was, can you translate that to how would that help a woman if she knows her soul agreements with the person she's with, or someone she might be having conflict with, or someone she's in partnership with, like me and her? How would that help them knowing their soul agreements?
Oh, it's a huge to learn about your soul agreement, because sometimes your soul agreement, when you have the soul agreement with a husband or a wife or whatever, even you, including your kids sometimes, you know, it's very essential to understand the soul agreement, and especially when you have problems with that person. And because if you want to solve that problem, he or she might not be the problem, because that problem might be coming from way back, from before. You're only attracting that person to teach you what you have already missed from before, and that's where the agreement play a big role here and makes a huge difference. So when I help somebody into the relationship, and I will ask them, like, the last relationships, to see what type of relationship they keep attracting. From this attraction, I'll be able to tell if they are always repeat type of patterns, and if those patterns are suiting them or not. Now, if there is a pattern, then I will ask them I'd like to have the date of birth of your mom and your dad. I want to see where is it coming from, because it might be coming from somebody that they attracted a long time ago, and they start keep attracting that vibration because they still haven't understood the first experience. I'm going to give you an example of that. Now, how many of us for some of us are, they felt that I have lack of love. I need somebody always to love me. And because of that, I keep looking for a relationship for people to love me. Now, that aspect is already coming from a childhood. Maybe as a young child, I've been abandoned, or even when I was as a fetus in the womb, I never felt love from my mother. Maybe she had problems at that time. She might have a problem with dad. She might felt unwanted, and that it brought with me energetically. So we're talking energy here. Energetically, we brought with us, because the subconscious is start to record, and this is scientifically proven now, start to record everything, every event that happened as a fetus, 3 months fetus. So we know that everything has been recorded. But at those times, you never knew what happened.
And then you carry this on for years and years without having, as Vanessa says here, and that having that awareness from childhood and the triggers. It really, I'm reading what she says here. Triggers is really important in the relationship to work. Yeah, Vanessa, if you want to jump in, you or Randi. I don't know if you saw my message, but by all means. Because these guys are like doing work in the same area. Vanessa does relationship coaching, and Randi does transformational coaching, where people kind of leave a career and transition into something else. And, this stuff all ties in perfectly, because I think it helps when people are able to, let's say, get a reading, because they work with you and they understand, why they're having these issues, because it's been following them for years and years. For whatever reason, you can break the cycle, right? Because now, how do you, like, for example, I know that some of this comes from your date of birth, but what can a person do then? There's Randi. We lost Jen for some reason. Oh, there she is. Okay, good. You're back. And we have, for some reason, we have Jen and Randi on the same thing on the screen. So, Randi, why don't you introduce yourself, because you might want to contribute to this conversation.
Am I live? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
It's really weird because it's showing up with Jen's picture in my face. So, wait, I'm underneath. I can see.
What's our soul agreement, Joseph? What's going on here?
Well, there's a lot of problems here. It's going to take days to figure out this one.
What's the energy behind this?
Oh, man.
So strange.
No, but you're right, Arlene, what you were saying before, because a lot of times when you're hitting resistance in a relationship with someone, you love each other so much, or you care about each other so much, and you keep hitting these things, and you start wondering what's going on with them. You say what's wrong with them, or you say what's wrong with me, and then you just break it up, and then you meet someone else that you get into the same thing again.
The same pattern.
The same pattern, yeah. So this saves you a lot of time and heartache, I think.
Okay, there's Randi again. Let me just get her in. This is so strange. Every time that...
Welcome to Blab on Beta.
Oh my God, because every time Jen disappears, and then so Randi comes up, and...
So funny.
I'm gonna get out, and let's see Randi go in, and then see if I can get in the open seat.
Still morph us in. You jumped off, and then I jumped in my name in your face again.
Okay, let's give this a whirl. Now, is Randi still there? Okay, so let her in the seat. No, Jen came back in. Oh my God, that is funny. That is just the weirdest thing ever.
I'm trying to leave.
Maybe you have an agreement to stay that way.
Yes,
that's what I was saying.
So strange. I can actually see the top of like my head underneath Jen.
What about Vanessa? What would happen when Vanessa jumps on?
So weird.
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to ask a question.
Can hear me though?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you.
Okay.
I'm always fascinated in terms of numerology. What are the various things that you look at? Because I understand there's your date of birth, then there's your name. Like, what are the different things that you look at when you're looking at numerology?
I look at both. Now, the first thing I look into, the date of birth will give me an indication of what are you here coming for as a destiny for you to do, what you're supposed to be doing. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a big difference in destiny and your job as what you're doing. They're not the same. Your job doesn't mean this is your destiny. So, but the date of birth gives me the indication of all what you have as a destiny from a problem, from where the destiny is supposed to take you. And at the same time, it gives me all the challenges that you might have since you were a kid up to the end of life even. So it gives the whole variation of it. And then we can classify it by age period. On each age period, what experiences you should have on a positive and negative time. Now, the name, this is where the problem is. The name it will determine a lot to do with what you're here for, what you're here supposed to be doing into this lifetime, what you meant in a sense, your name, it gives you the direction of what is the direction you're taking. You can change that at all time by keep changing your name. Now, how many women got married? She removed her name, she put her husband's name, and then all of a sudden it went either like hell or it went completely a different direction, because she might lost one vibration, and anytime we lose a vibration from our name, it become an experience. That we have to deal.
So interesting.
We have to deal with it. We have no choice, because that experience, it's like it's sitting in our backpack and keep helping us to attract similar circumstances to it. So it's not like we have a choice with it. It's we done it. I'll give you an example. I was speaking with a client one time, and I said, you made a wrong choice by choosing your husband name. The moment you chose your husband name, now you brought an experience to do. You might have a chance to have a divorce with him. She said, we're already doing the divorce paper now.
Oh my gosh. So in other words, when you do readings for women in particular, because we're the ones who tend to change our names, and I know you had checked mine, and I've been trying to use Arlene Vasquez Washburn, but it's so long that I can't even fit it on my Twitter account because, it adds it's a better energy, because I guess if you're missing certain letters in your name, it has something to do with the vibration. But this is all so fascinating. Randy, you want to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone. Now that Jen and I are morphed. Yeah, it is fascinating. And you know what? There's such a identity component to that as well. We're talking about the name shifting. If you think about where the energy is around that, it's almost you're taking on another identity and losing an identity, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it really, I don't know if anybody really breaks it apart that way, but it kind of, it's an interesting way to start a relationship, when you're getting married. And I often wondered, like, why don't we decide who takes whose name? Why don't we just, pick the better name and go with it? I actually know somebody who did that. A friend of mine, his brother, they morphed their names together. So they took half of his name and half of her name and legally changed their names so that it was components of both. So Joseph, what's the energy around that?
That could be a good idea, but the problem is if they lose any vibration that they missed from the half they took out, then it's going to become an experience.
Vanessa, you want to just say hello?
Hi, everyone. How you guys doing?
Very good.
It was like watching a comedic version of the Brady Bunch, just what was happening with the boxes. I was like, I have to call in just so I can pop up and see what happens.
And now my girl Jen is out. I don't know what's happening with her internet, because her stuff was on a delay every time she talked. So she can hear us. So we'll get her back in here in a minute. So tell us about, I know, Joseph, you have this program that's coming up, which sounds really cool because it ties into what we're doing. I know that tomorrow, I think it's a free webinar, and it's about relationships. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's called Boost Your Attraction Power by Healing the Pain from Mom and Dad. The way I look at it, the law of attraction attracts the same way, positive as well as negative. It does attract everything. So it can attract positive aspect to things. It can attract negative aspect to things. So it's all the same. There's nothing lesser than the other one. So if I had a problem with mom, and mom said to me at a young age, she said, "Who you think you are?" Now, what's the implication of that when I grow up? Who you think you are? That's mean it give me now into a box that I cannot go outside that boundary, which I call it a bubble. You're sitting into a bubble that who you think you are. That's mean I cannot stand up now for myself because I need somebody to be able to control me in the sense of energetically, and because I cannot depend on my choice or my decision that I take because somebody with authority at young age, even if that person, mom or dad, today I love them to death, I have no problem with them, but energetically there's something from a younger age that I still hold into.
Right.
And somehow I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is, but it's sitting in my subconscious. And the subconscious to me is when you start as a 3 months fetus and start recording everything, it records everything into a video. And when it is stored it into the cabinet, there's 2 cabinets that stored the files: finish document, closed document, and unclosed document. So you have 2 different documents. Now, those when they are stored into that document, that movie that's been put for that, whatever the experience you had with mom for that 5-10 minutes, it's stored under the word confidence, under the word whatever it is. So this file is not closed because it's still there's part of me that haven't understood it. It's not about the right or wrong. It's nothing. We're not judging here. We're only want to strip the feeling that we got through that experience. That feeling, we need to strip it completely from the label we labeled it, either positive or negative. Why we labeled that feeling? Why I labeled abandonment is bad? It could be good, So why I labeled confidence is bad? It could be good, could be bad. Doesn't matter. So we need to completely take out the label we give it, because the label is becoming our judgment about it. And once you take that label out and you see the energy of that feeling on its own and take the power and own it to yourself, be that power, then you stop attracting it, because you own it to yourself. It's yours. But those phrases that we accumulated as a child from mom or dad, you're not good enough, who's going, what do you mount into, who's going to listen to you, who you think you are, whatever, all these nonsense phrases that we think they are nonsense, but in real term, they can be a damaging problem in the future because they become our limiting belief system.
Yep. That's Vanessa, I'm sure you have a lot to say about that. I know that that's your area of expertise, dealing with relationships and parenting and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Any thoughts?
You're so on point, Joseph, in terms of when the person finally has that awareness that these are the triggers from our childhood, it opens up the rest of their world.
Yeah,
completely.
That's
because
right.
Then any situation that comes your way, like you said, it doesn't need to be labeled positive or negative. They can take that experience and say, what do I need to learn from this? What gift can I take from this and move forward? So it's not, like you said, a positive or a negative thing. We take something and we learn and we move forward. And I think that's a key point to any relationship working. That awareness that this is a trigger, how I'm going to work on the trigger, and then any future triggers, how I'm going to deal with it. Really, really important stuff.
Yeah, and I think the perfect example of the not labeling good or bad or whatever is where you have two kids who grow up with the exact same parents, and one comes out, you know, very successful. The other one, you know, maybe is down and out, you know, using drugs or whatever. It's amazing. Or the child who's born to a mother who's a drug addict and lives in poor conditions and comes out of that and gets an education and succeeds and does so much for themselves. So whatever the experience is, you know, whether you don't need to label, it's what you do with that. You know,
and I think
it's not about the experience, it's how your reaction to the experience. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And as parents, even when we translate that into a mother and a father, how they take the experiences with their children and how they react to them, we're the ones planting the seed. So we need to be careful how we react and how we speak to them, because this is a product as an adult of some of these things we see in society today, of these shootings, and it doesn't fit my head. Where were the parents in this when they were little? Where were the parents, the support and the motivation and everything that a parent's supposed to do for a child because you decided to bring them into this world? It's not there. And that's a sad thing to see, because as human beings, we need to be aware of these things so that we're not passing it on. We finally have that circle stop. That vicious circle of what our families created before, all the generations before me, and how even Hispanic women are perceived, and how, you know, we're perceived in terms of our own success as an entrepreneur. All of those things, the reason it takes us longer to find all of that is because of the stuff that was seated in our head from back in the day, that, like you said, a limiting belief. We can't get past that. So if we know that today, then as parents, we should not continue that cycle. We need to stop it and make sure that we're doing it, we're shifting that path. And if we don't know how to do that, ask for help, because parents nowadays have a lot of control of how these kids are going to end up being down the road.
And it's all been programmed since in the first 9 years of your life. It's a full cycle of 9 years. This is when all the programmation started. Yeah. Remember, your subconscious, if you want to treat the subconscious properly, you need to treat a 6-year-old kid. The subconscious is exactly as a 6-year-old kid, no more, no less. Doesn't know what's bad, what's good for you. It only see what you keep repeating every day. I'm not beautiful, I'm not beautiful, I'm not beautiful. Then the subconscious keep bringing you the experiences to show you that you're not beautiful. That's all it is.
Exactly.
But if you start saying I'm successful, then the next day the subconscious start bringing you experiences to show you, yes, you are successful.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important for my work in orphanages, getting to these children at a very young age, teaching them this mindset, teaching them that aspect of self-esteem and self-confidence, because that, like you said, the first 9 years are the critical ones. And that's when I want to hit them right there, because from that, it's going to plant that good seed and get them into their adulthood, you know? So I love that point. I love that. Thank you.
You know, it is very critical anyway. So it is something we need to become conscious of. We need to be able to instead of rushing into saying something, even as a parent today, if you said something you didn't like to say it, then say, I'm sorry about it.
Apologize. Yes. We're human beings and we make mistakes and we're not perfect. Yes. We
need to take responsibility. This is where we lack, most of us, is personal responsibility. We don't take it enough.
Yes.
You know.
I'm just curious. I'm curious what Randi thinks about all of this in terms of, like, because we talk about the numerology and the energy, but, you know, Randi's area of expertise is all about people who are making a transformation. I mean, let's just say they didn't get married and they still have the same name, the same birthday, but they want to reinvent themselves to do something different, which, you know, women do all the time. So how does that, like, what are your thoughts, Randi? And I'd like to hear what Joseph has to say as well.
It's kind of an extension of what you were just saying, Vanessa and Joseph, and that one of the biggest places that I see my clients stopping themselves is the excuses. It's telling yourself that something's going to be a certain way. So you're writing that end of a story before you let yourself live the story. So you don't have a beginning, you don't have a middle, you only have an end. And it stops people in their tracks. It's going to be this way, so I can't do it. Or I tried that before, it didn't work. Doesn't mean it's not going to work now. So, we get caught up in these stories that we tell ourselves, and that becomes its own destiny, because once you weave that, that's it. You believe it. And it's almost like reteaching how to unbelieve it. That's really where it kind of goes. It's like, why is there not a possibility? Just because it happened some way, or you think it's going to happen some way before, doesn't mean that that's who you are now, or how it's going to play out if you let it play out. So I think people get very, very caught up in
their story.
All of it. Yeah. And really, overshooting the moment they're in because they think it's going to be a certain way.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I've heard Vanessa's story, because she was on the stage at a recent conference, and this idea of you don't have to get stuck based on what you've lived through, because like you can see people like Vanessa who like coming from whatever situation and being able to just do so much despite that. So it doesn't matter. Like, I guess the point is, it doesn't matter what happened, is how you choose to feel about it and what you choose to do with the experience. That's and the learning.
Choice, right there. That's the word. That's
choice.
The word. It's choice. And people forget they have choice. And choice is the driver. It's the thing that makes the difference.
The choice is responsibility.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility to take that choice.
Right.
And
do the work.
Because
do it.
Yeah. There's always going to be work. You see, when you go to university for 4-year program, you study every single year, and you study hard in order to pass every single year. But when we come into life, we're coming into a school of life, and that is also work in years in progress. So you need to keep studying and studying and studying till the last day.
I like that.
It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
I always say you are a work in progress until the day you die. And then if you're like me, you believe that you're going to come back with some of that knowledge and start over again to get to the next level. So you get your high school, your bachelor's, your master's, whatever, you just keep going. That's my belief anyway, but it's all very interesting. It's so funny. This whole afterlife thing and the numerology, vibrations and all that stuff kind of reminds me of this new show that's on TV that I absolutely love. It's called Hollywood Medium. And this kid's it's on E, and he talks to, like, he does readings for all these famous people. And this guy is so on target about the details of what he knows about people, where there's no way that somebody would know, because he talks to people on the other side. Now, I understand some people may not be, they may be incredulous about that. But for me, I totally believe it. And it just gives you like a sense of calm about that. Like, okay, we're all going to arrive at death successfully. Now you know that there's a potential that you can communicate. There might be people that can help you communicate with the children or whatever that you leave behind. So this is all kind of very interesting stuff,
It is.
Jen is still out there. Let's try to get her back in. Randy, do you want to hang out?
I'm going to hop off, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Bye.
I love you. Okay. Jen, come on in. Let's see if Randy's face comes up now when you knock to come in. That was just so funny and so weird. Okay, we'll wait for her to knock in. But I just wanted to mention to everyone, we have a program. It's called Get Real, Get Love. And Joseph is one of the faculty members who's providing a bonus in that program. So I'm so excited because my first conversation with Joseph, I was just like in awe. I was like, wow, this stuff is so freaking cool. And, we talked a lot. And the thing is we're not getting into, people's specific stuff. But like when he did my reading, he told me stuff about myself that was completely on target, just based on the numerology. So it's all really interesting, and I'm very open to this kind of thing. I mean, I know some people are not, and that's fair. I don't like to push anything on anyone, but I find it very interesting how Joseph went from being an engineer with all kinds of, certifications and degrees and stuff into this realm. And, so I always like to point that out because, there are people who are very logical and yet they can understand this stuff because it makes sense.
It's more fun. It's more fun. And this is where when you take the energy and the way I look into it is like I will see your ancestry also with it. How is it from the family's background, from the father's side, the mother's side, and what energy are keep coming down all the time the same way? So
exactly.
There's always something keep running, and you can see it immediately what vibration you inherited from the whole family. And this is why in my healing program I always cut that ancestry for the reason why, because if I was born in the Roman times as a soldier and died at that time, every lifetime when I get born, I keep going as being a soldier at the time of being a soldier. And keep dying the same way until one day I wake up and as I will stop the pattern of lifetimes. And that's where you need to energetically to cut that agreement, because you sign up an agreement with for something to learn. You never learn it because you keep dying, and you end up keep doing lifetime after lifetime, and keep coming for the same thing. And we do that not as a soldier in everything we have, So if things that we are too familiar with and we keep doing them, that means there is always something, that we keep bringing back from the past with us and keep circulating until one day we said, I had enough of this. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Exactly.
And it's time to do something about it.
And that's, I think, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think the way to break the cycle is to, bring things to your consciousness and your awareness, as Vanessa was saying before. Like once you're aware of something, because I think a lot of people go through life with certain issues that are like in their subconscious, that they're just not willing to recognize, what's going on behind the scenes. And one example of that, that we talk a lot about with our clients is in your relationships, when you find yourself really getting pissed off about something somebody else is doing, like always stop and make believe you're looking in the mirror, because a lot of it has to do with really you. Like there's something in that person that's triggering you that is, something within yourself that really, I don't know what's going on with that. She tried to get in and it didn't come in. Okay, so she's trying one more time. Let's see. But yeah, so that it's really interesting. Like, what are the ways to break the cycle? For example, I hear so many times like, your mom did X, Y, and Z, and she has a daughter, and the daughter does the same thing, and then their daughter does the same thing, and their daughter. It's like an ongoing thing. Now, there's two ways to look at it. It could be the energy or the frequency that they're at, or it could just be like, however else you want to describe it. You got to break that cycle, I see it all the time too. It's sad, with people in their relationships where they're doing exactly what their parent did.
I think sometimes though that has to do with them being comfortable being in that circle, and they don't want to be uncomfortable and figure out a solution. So they're like, okay, let me just do what I know and I am comfortable with. But of course, if you try something new, it's not going to feel that great. But after 20 or 25 times of doing it, guess what? It starts feeling comfortable. So I think it's giving people thinking of that, wait a minute, do I really want to stay in this? Like we said, people have a choice. But do they want to choose to stay in that circle because they feel good in it? Or do they really want to get out? And that's when you see the people who rise to the call. Those are the people who are willing to step out of the circle and go past the fire and say, I can't do that anymore. That's it. So it not everyone, like you said, there's 5 of us. I have 5 siblings and only one, myself, was willing to push past that point. But why? It had to, but there's a lot of factors behind that, in terms of even how I was raised, and they were raised, all 4 of them together. I was raised by myself, even though we have the same mom and dad. There's a big 19-year gap in between us. So they were already married, having their kids, and I was growing up with them. but still there was that aspect of there's something more to this. I always knew there was something more to it. I just didn't know what it was, and I'm still figuring it out. But I definitely didn't want to stay in that alcoholic, verbal abuse freaking circle. That wasn't for me. And I knew immediately as a kid, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not the kind of man I want to marry, period. And so that was my standard. Can't be an alcoholic, no drug addict, never lays a finger on me. Those were the 3 things I said. Everything else is fine. Sometimes we have to set our standard to a certain point of the things that we don't accept in our life so that we can attract the right stuff back.
Oh my gosh, that is so on point, completely on point. And that what you said is huge. Not only when you get triggered by and get upset with other people, but also the idea of getting outside of your comfort zone, because people get comfortable with chaos, and they get comfortable with experiences that are the drama, and so when you get outside your comfort zone, that's where the growth happens completely.
The way I look at it is there's a lot of people are comfortable in their discomfort. Whatever you do, they're comfortable. Like how many times you see a woman, she's been abused into a relationship, but she never leaves. Right. Because it's too comfortable where she is. Now, she doesn't know where to go in the first place, because she probably will attract similar anyway, because that's her only way she knows how. And we're not judging her in that fashion, but we have to question why we keep doing that. Now, from my perspective, the way I see it, when we are too much into our comfort zone, into our being comfortable in our discomfort, it has one implication into it, which is, for me, is because I'm afraid to step into my own power. It's safer to stay in my comfort zone.
Right.
That I just got chills when you said that, because I totally believe that. It's so weird. Like, and it could be a silly thing. Like we did a webinar the other day, and for the longest time I'm like, we're going to do a webinar. But like, I was almost afraid, and then after we did it, it's like, oh my gosh, we can do this every day. Let's do a webinar every day. It's like, but it's that fear of stepping into your own power, and what are people going to think, and what are they going to say, and and it's like such BS, it's that is so on point, Joseph. Totally.
And that's as simple as that. It doesn't need too much. Even in our reversing about our all our patterns, our limiting belief, they're all excuses. They become at one point, because I'm still afraid to step into that power. I'm still afraid to show up. It's easier to play small than playing big. Remember that. So it's not like and sometimes I'm afraid because of my gift. Look, I was clairvoyant since I was 8. So my mediumistic started to open up at age of 8. Now, I grew up as being in a Catholic family, growing up in a Jewish neighborhood in a Muslim city.
Wow.
So,
wow.
So at age of 8, to who you want me to tell that I have clairvoyance, guys? Look.
Nobody. Oh my God, that is hilarious.
So I had to keep it in silence to me until the age of 15. And at age of 15, everything stopped. But it wasn't my fault. They introduced girls in school, so priority changed. So priority changed. So it stopped from age 15 to 30 completely. I was completely into nothing. So the priority all changed. But at 30, when I quit my engineering and everything else, I started slowly showing up and coming back, and where I picked up the whole thing and moved with it from there. But we are here to get freedom in our life. And that freedom is about freedom from family, freedom from culture, freedom from religion, freedom from our way of thinking that doesn't support us any longer, freedom from our thought that doesn't apply any longer in our life, freedom from from negative people around us, freedom from our unnecessary responsibilities, and freedom from all our fear.
Yeah.
Amen.
We're wired. The thing that people don't realize, our hearts and our souls are wired to love. And when you give that up, like he just said, when you get that freedom, the love is beyond. You can't even, that's where the power comes from. That's the way it feels to me, that I feel more powerful with more of the love that I have and I'm sharing. And so it's like, I never thought it could feel this way, but he's absolutely right. It's having certain levels of freedom of all these things that I had to let go of my family. I had to let go of what people thought of me. I had to let go of who's going to see me. Back in the day, who cares? They have not been part of my journey. So who cares?
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
Because where you're going doesn't mean everybody has to come with you.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
and who meant to come with you, they're going to be there anyway.
Exactly.
So,
yep.
So,
oh my gosh, that's so well put. I love it. Oh my God, I'm loving this conversation.
you know,
And what you said, Vanessa, too, like everybody deserves to love and be loved. That is my motto. If you look at my, social media stuff, I put that out there because there are the people who completely give up on love because they're carrying, like Joseph says, their backpack. And they're like, you know what? This is so hard. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try to have a relationship because of whatever. And they just give up. Yeah. And it's like, no, you are meant to love and be loved. And you have to keep trying. It doesn't matter how old you are or what your experiences are. I feel so bad. Jen cannot get in. She's been trying and trying. She said, don't give up on love. We're not going to give up on you getting into this blab, Jen. You're missing such a great conversation. And I know at every point you would have had something to say about it. It sucks that you can't get in here. But I think it has to do with her internet because sometimes we have some issues. But this is such a fascinating conversation. And I'm so glad that we're all so like-minded. And, helping people get past this stuff. Unpack that backpack and get rid of all the crap that's in there that's just weighing you down, so you can move ahead, get to the mountain that you want to reach. That's what life is all about.
Because we all have something to do anyway.
Oh yeah.
And you won't get where you're supposed to go if you're stuck. Right. You have to get out of your own rut, whatever is that rut means. Doesn't matter what it is. It's not, who cares about it? Like for me, when I work with somebody on the healing work from a childhood, I don't care about what happened because it's irrelevant. Now
you can't do anything about it.
You can't do anything about what you ate this morning. Can you change it? If you cannot change what you ate this morning, then why on earth I'm gonna worry about what happened 30 years ago?
Right.
Right.
Yep. But what I can do, if I didn't like what I ate this morning, I can make my mind what I want to eat tomorrow.
Exactly.
And that's how you need to shift the consciousness. That's all it is. It's about energy shift. And the moment you accept what happened and take responsibility of it, even if you're not the one who stirred it up, because of the soul agreement, you ask for the experience and just take responsibility of it, and everything starts to diminish. But the only obstacle we all have, even during the healing work, we all have, is us to step into our own power.
That's so beautiful.
And this is the major problem. And we all have that. And it's not coming because you made a mistake in this lifetime or you made a mistake. It's coming because of all the baggages that you bring in from past lives that are coming energetically with you as part of your package. Yeah. So take responsibility of it and drop it off. That backpack, drop it.
So in other words, like the backpack is kind of like when you're going to college and you chose a bunch of courses. So you just have to get through the lessons on all that stuff. There's a reason why. I mean, and like, I love what you said, that not everybody has to be with you on your journey. Mm-hmm. And if they're supposed to be there, they're gonna arrive on their own time. So that's really good, because that's something that people, particularly like if you have a fear of abandonment, sometimes you latch on and you don't want to let go. And, you don't, like, things have to happen organically. Like if somebody wants to be there, they'll be there. Yep. If somebody's meant to be there, they should be there. If they're not right for you and they're toxic, you need to let it go, because everybody has a season and they serve their purpose, and then you move on. It just is what it is.
It is. I'd like to touch into a subject that everybody probably on this call today might be interested in, which is a soulmate. Now, soulmate, we all have soulmates. Soulmate does not have to be a relationship, by the way. And soulmate are the best people that can push you to start doing things that you're supposed to be doing.
I totally agree. Jennifer is my soulmate, and she just put something in her comment here. She said she got divorced and then 7 years ago and never changed her name back to Castaneda. She kept saying it's legal reasons, but now listening to this, she thinks that it might be time to change it. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it could be. It could be, it could be a big possibility, because you have to see the whole picture, how the blueprint going. Now, by using a specific name, did she hurt herself or she empowered herself? So it can go both ways. Again, if we lose vibration, then we're going to have something to pay, because every vibration missing in your name become part of your karma as a lesson you need to learn. That's all it is. But soulmates themselves are people who are there for you to push you be your best.
I totally agree. And I've been saying that forever. Like, sometimes people look at me like, I'll say, oh, so-and-so's my soulmate, like Jennifer. And people are like, what? And I'm like, soulmates is not just about a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or no, these are people that, in fact, I will take it a step further. I was working at a company where this woman came in and she started working there, and I saw her and I was like, I recognize you. And she is still my friend till this day. We somehow ended up living in the same area, which is we're out all the way down in, out west, right? And somehow we both ended up meeting men separately and from this area. And I recognized her when I saw her. I was like, we're soulmates, and we connected, and we now it's been 15 years from that job that we've been together. But I totally agree. People help you grow, and that's certainly been the case. Jennifer and I partnered up to do our coaching practice together, and a lot of the activities are first-time activities for both of us. First time doing a webinar, first time launching a product online, first time doing an orientation call, which we did yesterday. And we just, when she's down, I pick her up. When I'm down, she picks me up. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. And I have to say, my husband's the same way. Like, I feel he's totally my soulmate, because we finish each other's sentences. I'm thinking something comes out of his mouth, like we've had this conversation before, and I love it. And I totally agree. And to hear it coming out of your mouth, Joseph, is a good thing.
And always you have to remember, and we have 3 areas. When I do the comparison between people, there's 3 areas. There's the physical, emotional state, there's the mental state, and there's the vocational state. Now, we have people that are having soul agreement with us on any of these states, or sometimes all of them together, or 2 or 3 of them together. So when you start comparing, you start seeing what are these people. If you said, like, for example, your husband is you have a connection mentally, that's mean that level you might have something very close to both of you, that you're connecting mentally. From maybe it could be soulmate connection even, as we finish each other's sentence. So most people, like probably 97% of people I work with, I have major soul agreement with them. I don't usually work with somebody that I don't have an agreement with, because it's a waste of my time. Because I didn't sign an agreement to help them. There's somebody else for them, so it's not for me. Sometimes they can become on my list, but they're probably sitting with me waiting for me to send them to somebody that they're supposed to be the agreement with. And that's all it is. It depends on how you look to things and how but when you start working with people that you have the agreement and you understand how the agreement works, you start completely recognize what is your potential of assisting somebody. Now, unfortunately, from my type of work, I don't come to somebody say, is everything okay? I don't say that, because I'd like them to use their free will and approach me, say, I need help in here or there, because that way I'm not interfering into too much, even though I have the agreement with them. And even though in my program, I give them the layaway. Take space. It's okay. I don't have a problem with that. And energetically, I know when they are stuck because I know it. It's like I feel it. I sense it.
It's so interesting. And I know we're almost at the hour here, so I don't want to hold people up. But I was talking to Jennifer today because I spoke to, I did a session on the phone with a client, and I said to her, it's so weird how it almost feels like you're channeling, because anytime that I talk to a client, it's like the information like downloads into my head, comes out of my mouth, and it's exactly right and perfect what I'm supposed to be saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, because people think about coaching as just being like a cookie cutter methodology system that you use, but for me, is nothing like that. Like and I'm not trying to be hokey or anything, but like literally information comes into my head, and I was talking to someone and I said something with reference to her father, and as an example of what a father might say, and she said to me, that's exactly what happened to me, and that's exactly what my father said. And I was like, whoa. And Jen and I were talking about this because she has a bag of tricks, I call it. She has different modalities that she uses, like clinical hypnotherapy. She does EFT, NLP, all kinds of stuff. I mean, Jen is like a junkie for education and all that stuff, But like she says, it's great to have all that because not everything works for everyone. So she always knows how to pull out the right, sort of like the right medicine, and that's a very cool thing. So it's so great for me personally, and I know for you guys, I don't want to speak for you, but it's so nice to be living your purpose and doing what you want to be doing, because you're so much more effective.
Mm-hmm.
And able to really help people. And if you come with that genuine desire to serve, it's just amazing what we can accomplish.
It is. I mean, we all have something to do. Just start doing it. That's all it is. And believe you can do it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to have you guys just tell everyone how they can get a hold of you, your URLs and stuff, what you're up to. Joseph, I guess we'll start with you. I know you have a program coming up tomorrow. And I think we had already put the URL, but I'll put it back in the chat again.
Okay.
Let everybody know.
Tomorrow is going to be, in a way, if you have similar circumstances keep happening into your life, you want to stop those things, let's figure out where they're coming from. And most of the time, they're coming from somewhere in the past. So they're not just by coincidence. I'm gonna be talking about that for an hour or so, and probably take some calls at the end if somebody have any questions to anything. But it is in a way to start looking and stop blaming your last relationship as your problem, because most of the time is not.
Exactly.
Not, so and become more open, because otherwise you'll be always stuck to the same thing,
Excellent. And I put in the URL, it's freespiritcenter.ca, because you're out in Canada. So I don't want to read the whole URL because I don't know how easy that's going to be, but people can read it from the chat. And it's listed on your website, right?
It's possible. When they go on the website, they can see it on the homepage anyway.
Okay, perfect. Vanessa, how do people get a hold of you?
Usually through my website, onevanessacanas.com, and that's my handle for every platform, One Vanessa Canas. I try to keep it consistent, So, yeah, relationship coach, not only for couples, but parents, and trying to bring them united and thriving as a family, working, moving forward. And after Thrive, it kind of reignited my event management side of my passion as well. And so I'm reintroducing that back into my portfolio. So I'm doing that as well now. So go figure.
Oh, good. Open. We'll need to talk about that. We need to talk about that.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I've got 17 years of corporate experience doing that. So I really enjoy it.
That's really good. So you and I, we're part of a mastermind together, and Joseph and I are part of a mastermind as well.
Nice.
Together. And I'm sorry that Jennifer couldn't get back in, but you know where to reach us. We're at avconnections.com, and Jennifer is a love and confidence coach, and we're working on getrealgetlove.com. We just kicked off. She's there in spirit. We just kicked off our getrealgetlove.com. It's a program for women. It's a women's group coaching program online, and we're still accepting. We still have a few spots available, and actually Joseph is on our faculty and providing some content for the program as well. So it's 6 weeks, and we're very, very excited about this. I mean, it's just good stuff. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, rest of your evening. If you're in the West Coast, I think it's a little earlier for Joseph over there, but thank you.
I'm going to the beach now.
Oh my God, that's crazy. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And join us again next week, Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We have a very cool guest. We actually have McKenna Johnston. She's going to be our guest. We're starting a new series next week of entrepreneurs and their love lives. So please join us. We're going to have some really kick-ass people. And I know McKenna is she's a badass. And I think people are going to really want to meet her and learn about her. With that, take care, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Bye.